All right, let's hop right into it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Formula America podcast. We're your hosts, Kurt and Dylan, and today we're here to talk about the F175 live livery launch from last night, which I did not know. I didn't go into it with such high expectations, but I thought it was actually a pretty damn good show.
I did too. It was very British.
Yes.
The humor, the everything was very British, but I did really like the whole thing. I like that all the cars were launched, all the drivers were in, all their stuff. Like I did really enjoy it, but I was kind of laughing at British humor, and it was just like, this is so British.
Yeah, and you know what? I think if they continue, which I think they probably will continue, it's just going to get better and better because I'm glad it wasn't a cookie cutter, like copy paste format. Yeah. You could tell each team had carte blanche to do. I think they're given 7 minutes. It's like you can do whatever you want with these 7 minutes. And you got to see some teams that did really well, in my opinion. Other teams that just kind of, Christmas treated and just got through it. But I was pretty excited to see when it started out. I'm not really familiar with Jack Whitehall at all. Yeah. And so I didn't know where that was going to go, but I loved that immediately he started going in on Max Verstappen, George Russell, and it really set the tone. It's like, okay, no punches are going to be pulled for this thing. And he really did not. Everybody caught those hands last night.
Hilarious. Lewis Hamilton walking around looking like a peacock or peacocking around looking like a Fortnite character. I was like, damn.
I love the fact that he said, who all's going to the James Val's freak off later on.
There's some really good jokes in there. I was you bring up the whole George Russell, Max Verstappen thing. It's funny because the media is definitely trying to make something of it. And George Russell is definitely playing the game a little bit. I know he's saying the right things that, we're past that. I'm going to drive hard no matter what. It's hilarious to me, though. It's crickets from Max's camp.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, Max was asked and he was like, in February, I don't plan on having any beefs with anyone.
Yeah.
And basically he's just like, what are you talking about? And it's the way it always is. Even remember when Max and Lewis came together in Silverstone and Max had to get taken to the hospital.
Yep.
And like after that, they kept asking like, oh, what are you guys going to do if you come together on track? He's like, look, this is stupid. Stop asking us this. We're race car drivers. We've moved on. We've moved past it. And yeah, everybody wants to see the beef and wants the drama. And the drivers are just like, it was a blip on the radar at this point.
Completely. But you're right. Whitehall had some hilarious jokes. I didn't think many punches were pulled at all. I overall thought it was a great event. Yeah,
definitely. And so let's talk about some of the different entrances that some of these cars had. And I think that, they went in reverse grid order. So it started out with Steak. And it was, Steak was just kind of, they just marched out, in my opinion. It wasn't that cool. In my opinion, my favorite one of all of the car packages, I think, was Aston Martin.
Yeah, full on James Bond.
Yeah. I wasn't really a fan of like the AI, or not AI, but like the computer generated, them coming in on the boats and all. But overall, I liked the theme and I liked that they had, the singer coming out. It did feel very James Bondish. Yes. I love that they dove into that because that's what I think of. When I think of James Bond, I think of Aston Martin.
Yes. Well, and it's funny. I saw a thing the other day. I follow a couple of different car things on Instagram. Imagine that. I'm sure no one else does that at all. But they were talking about the Aston Martin DB5. And one of the commentators was like, unpopular opinion, but that car is trash. He was like, it is not fun to drive. It is rough. It's not. He was like, the only reason we all love it so much is because it is iconic James Bond. That is what makes the DB5 so amazing. But he was like, if you get in and drive that car, he's like, it's not awesome. I was like,
oh yeah, I just looked it up. That's that old school.
Yeah,
that is like the quintessential James Bond car. I see the guns coming out of the headlights and stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, it doesn't look like it would be the most fun to drive.
But anyway, going back, let's start with reverse grid order. What do you think of the Steak car?
As far as the livery goes?
Yep.
I actually kind of like the livery compared to last year. I like how it's got that green on the nose and it goes to the airbox and fades to black. I think it actually looks really good.
It is still that babam lime green, but I think this looks a lot cleaner than last year.
It does. And as you know, they're going to have, this is their final year being green.
Yep.
You know, they're going to switch to Audi next year. So I think that it's a good way to go out. Last year just looked kind of gaudy and childlike, but I think this is like a good, nice representation of Steak as a brand, and the coloring is.
And those side pods and shoulders are screaming RB20. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean, come on. At this point, you got to do something.
All of the cars have. I was hardcore nerding out on whether these were last year's cars or this year's cars, and like the Sauber, the Williams, definitely are screaming some RB20s going on here. If these are their new cars,
yeah. I mean, which is strange too, because the RB20 wasn't necessarily the fastest, but I guess it was good enough.
Apparently.
All right, what do we got next on here?
Williams. The Williams really didn't change much from last year.
Yeah, the Williams, they just added a new sponsor, it looks like. Other than that, the car kind of looks the same. I know this is probably their older car. But yeah, the
title sponsor, though. First title sponsor in a while. It should help them.
It is.
At least for all the crashes.
Yeah. Yeah, but overall, the livery is just kind of bland.
Yeah, it is what it is. That Racing Bull, though.
Oh my gosh, dude, the Racing Bulls looks really good.
That's like throwback couple years Japanese Red Bull color right there.
Yeah, and I love how they've got the blue to white fades with the bulls, like how Mercedes does with the stars, but they've got bulls on it. And I thought it was hilarious that Jack Whitehall was making fun of how short the drivers are. It was like, you those little legs got to work overtime. Get over here. But yeah, I think that one is probably one of my favorites as far as the liveries go for this season.
I definitely like this one the most. I think this is probably I guess I shouldn't say the most, but this is the most improved, I would say.
Yeah, and one thing I got from their package, like the whole build up to where they had that, I think he's a comedian or something like that, that was going in the streets and trying to like, build up the whole vibe of Racing Bulls, is it seems like they're trying to fit in to the slot that Red Bull had when they first came into the sport, where they were the rebels. They're the ones with the super loud music. They're the ones that like had all the athletes and extreme sports and all that. And it seemed like some of the things they were saying was trying to position themselves as that, because Red Bull at this point is kind of like a corporate sellout. I feel like they've gotten too big to be able to do that. And I feel like Racing Bulls is trying to step in and be like the cool hip kid, which maybe that's what they need to kind of build some excitement and some hype around that team. But I if they continue with that, I think it looks good.
Just like to see them improve and do a little better.
Yeah, for sure.
Scrolling on down, we got Haas, which has got a little more white on it than last year, but otherwise not American enough.
It's not American enough, but I did like their package. Their package was super American. All of the images was all, all U.S. monuments, all kind of stuff like that. They were really showing they're trying to stake their claim as America's team.
Yeah, but Andretti's going to roll out with a red, white, and blue car with a freaking bald ego on the airbox, and it's going to be all over.
The Haas is going to be like, we didn't do enough.
I'm saying it now, Haas. Y'all need to do more.
I know. You can tell they're diving into it, but they're not fully diving in.
The car's still black and white.
I know. If they really want to be America's team, they need to do a little bit more. Just turn it up.
Yeah.
I do think it looks good, though. I like this car. And I am excited for this team.
Yes. And Alpine.
Can we just... Alpine, I think the biggest...
They've got paint on the car.
They do have paint on the car this year. They do.
So that's a good sign.
It doesn't really do it for me. I don't think this car looks exciting.
No.
The biggest news on this team is that Pierre Gasly shaved his head. I think that's, other than that, I don't know what else to say.
And moving on. The Aston Martin looks clean.
It does. I've always liked the Aston Martin. That green, I think it pops, especially when you see it in person. I think it looks beautiful. Unfortunately, I was watching Lance when he's sitting there talking about it, and I was like, he is going to destroy that car.
Yeah, it's going to be game over.
About how good it looks. And then Fernando Alonso, as soon as he starts talking, the place erupted. It was incredible.
You think that's disheartening to Lance?
I don't know if Lance even cares anymore. I don't think he cares at all, one way or the other.
Well,
the same. This is the same way he drives.
the feeling is
Doesn't
mutual.
matter. Yeah. So you're just taking up a spot at this point.
Literally.
But
Yuki Tsunoda could be in that car. I am here for a Yuki Alonso pairing.
Hey, hopefully next year. But yeah, as far as the car looks, I think it looks great. And I think that their build up was probably my favorite.
Yeah, they did a great job. Merc, no change.
I've got issues with this. So for one, they did that stupid pit stop
Yeah.
when they came out, which made no sense, and they messed it up.
Yeah. And they jacked up a tire.
It's like the front right. Like, I don't even think they were taking nuts on and off, but they still couldn't get it on and off correctly. I don't even know why they would do that. That was stupid. It was pointless. I thought it was just dumb. And then when they unveiled the car, first thing I noticed is they took the red off.
Yeah.
So there's no more red star. There's no more red airbox. And so I wonder why they did that. You know,
I wonder
it's
if
like
that, I know the red star was supposed to be for Niki Lauda.
Yeah.
And that was a Lewis Hamilton push on that from what I understand. So I wonder with him gone, if they just took it went with him or what?
Yeah. And I wonder, because I know they've always, since Niki Lauda died, they've always kept a headset for Niki Lauda in the garage. It's like a ceremonial thing. Like, that's his headset. It's got his name on it. I wonder if that's still going to be in the garage or if they're just erasing all trace of Niki Lauda being at that team. But yeah, he was the main reason that Lewis ever went to that team. He convinced Lewis to go and take a chance. And so now that Lewis is gone, I know that Lewis was sitting there and he's like, they took off the red.
Yep. I bet he did. And that's fine. He's going to go. I mean, Niki was a Ferrari driver. Like, he'll resurrect it there then. Like,
yeah, for sure.
I have no doubt about that. Red Bull is basically the normal Red Bull.
Yeah, the Red Bull, I mean, did we expect it to be any different?
No, it's exactly what I expected.
You know, one thing I did find out recently, I was listening to the Talking Bulls podcast, and they had Max Verstappen on, and they were saying that Red Bull changes the color, that color of the bull, that like, it looks red, but when you see it in person, it's like a really vibrant orange. They change it for each race, depending on the conditions, so that it looks the same on TV. So the red that you see on the bull for Singapore is different than the red that you're going to see at, say, Coda or something like that.
That's interesting.
And I thought that was really interesting. The lady said that, and Max was like, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. That's a lot of time, effort, and money for...
Yeah, it really is. But they're trying to keep that brand integrity, I guess. But yeah, I thought that's pretty crazy that they do that for each race. But other than that, it looks really good. It is a good looking livery, but sometimes you just got to switch it up.
Yes and no. You talk about that Aston Martin green, how you like how it pops. I love that Red Bull blue. To me, it is almost, because nothing ever will be all the way, but it is almost as iconic as Ferrari red.
True. Yeah.
But I love the way that blue looks in person. More so than the Aston Martin green. I really do like that color. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Speaking of which, Ferrari, it wasn't broke and they tried to fix it.
Oh man. I don't like the look of the Ferrari livery. I don't like that they have that white stripe. I don't like I know the blue HP, that's part of their brand. They want it to be there and stand out, but it clashes and it changes. Well,
and it's funny because they like tried to make the blue HP small, but by doing that and just having all of the white, it makes it like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I don't like it.
It's better than the lime green arrows they had a couple of years ago.
That's true. Yeah, that's definitely better than that. Yeah. But it's, overall, the car is a good looking car. It's just an eyesore with that. And one thing I've noticed is this car is like a billboard. There are stickers. They talked about how next year Zach Brown's going to show up looking like Post Malone. I feel like this is how this car is. It's got like tattoos all over it. By far the most sponsorship stickers compared to any other
there's
car.
None that are like big. At least on Red Bull, like the side pod says Oracle. You're like, all right, got it. Ferrari's got Shell, Ray-Ban, and 3 other ones that I can't see or make out on the side pod. Like, it's a lot.
It is. It's kind of, I mean, I know they're doing it for the money, but man, there's so much on this car.
It's a lot. And the McLaren looks the same as last year. Moving on.
I don't think there's any change whatsoever.
No, I don't think so.
I know.
At all.
Yeah, I know they tried to spin it by saying we wanted to honor the championship winning car of last year. I feel like you guys just got lazy, and
I feel like you guys maxed the budget out, and we're like, all right, something's got to give.
Hey, as long as that car comes out and it's the fastest, I'm here for it. But man, I would have liked to see something different.
I'm super excited for all the car launches to see the 2025 cars. Yep. And the, we're already seeing a lot of RB20-esque stuff. Like I'd say the McLaren and the Mercedes are the two most different designs. And I'm really excited to see if they stuck with them or if they changed it. Cause even Ferrari said they've got 1% of last year's car in this one. And so I'm really excited to see how the car designs come out. But yeah, for McLaren, that's the only exciting thing because that livery hadn't changed at all.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're going to see these on track. And actually, we're already starting to see them on track. I know today they showed Racing Bulls. They were out on the track.
Ferrari did a release showing them come out, but they very cleverly positioned all the cameras where you never really got a good look at you couldn't see the side pod inlets. You couldn't see the front wing very well. Like they did a good job hiding the car still.
What's crazy to me though, is we are a week away from testing.
Yep.
Like is another team going to copy your design like in 6 days and be like, oh, that looks fast. Let's go ahead and do that. Who knows if it works or not,
you remember when Mercedes rolled the DOS out and on the first day of testing, you could see like up and down the paddock, they're like, what is going on? Sure, you want to keep that under wraps for as long as humanly possible. But your side pod design, I don't think anyone's stealing it, man. Like it's not.
Right. I wonder how long Mercedes was like thinking they were going to get away with that. And then when like day one, they're like, oh shit, they already found out about it.
Yeah.
Because as soon as that happens, the clock is ticking before it's banned or something like that,
I wonder what draconian measures they had in Germany for keeping that a secret. Like, did all of the workers, nobody was allowed to leave? You're like, you will be in this factory for the next 6 months. Say bye to your family. There are secrets here.
It's like there's only a very select few people that are allowed to work on this system.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Yeah, you have to. I'm sure there's moles all throughout. There has to be. Teams like meeting in like back alleys trying to like pay off bribes to other people.
That I have no doubt about. I wonder as a driver, so like Lewis Hamilton goes to Ferrari, do they immediately sit him down and they're like, tell us all of the Mercedes secrets now?
Yeah.
Which as a driver, that's a double-edged sword. You spill the beans and word gets out, nobody's ever going to trust you again. I'm curious how far that rabbit goes.
Well, apparently they said that Carlos did a lot of that. And so like when he got to Williams, apparently he was sharing different procedures or just workflows, things like that to make the team operate more efficiently, kind of like how Ferrari was. Also to the point where they changed Carlos has a very specific clutch mechanism that he likes.
Okay.
And so he was able to get Williams to recreate that for his car. And that's why I guess they're saying like Carlos is one of the best. His reaction times is kind of better than a lot of other people because of the way he does his clutch system. And so he was able to get Williams to recreate that for him there.
Well, the clutch system's interesting. Can you imagine having an electric paddle as your clutch? Like, and you're trying to feel everything and you have no idea when that thing engages. Like,
yeah, it's weird. It's like, seems like it would be like a trigger at that point.
Yeah.
Where it's just like it's engaged and then it's not engaged, or I don't know.
I wonder how much. I'm sure a ton, but that's always really interested me. We're going off track here. All in all, I really liked the launch. I can only imagine what this will look like with the 2026 regulations, like in 1 year's time. I think it'll be really cool. Yep. But I would give this 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. I can't wait to see next year's. I thought it was really interesting that as soon as FIA popped up on screen, everybody booed them.
Yep.
I thought it was cool that Gordon Ramsay was able to drop an S-bomb before the microphone cut off on him. Thought that was cool.
Go ahead and give him a $10,000 fine. Good luck.
Yeah, right? It seems like clearly that is the main talking point. The drivers were asked about it before in the press conferences. Max said that he didn't want to speak about it because he doesn't want to get in trouble. It's like that,
which is kind of a real concern, I'm sure, of his.
Yeah, it's like if I open my mouth, like you said before, a lot of us, this is our second language. This is just the way that we talk in some countries. And just because you don't like it, now all of a sudden we have to change the way we talk. So maybe I just don't say anything.
Yeah. It worked really well for that weekend. He got in trouble for it. And so he just stopped doing interviews, or he did the very, very bare minimum in the interviews. Like, I think there's a lot of stuff you can do like that to really show. Look, and I get it. I'm happy to say if the FIA came out and said, hey, no dropping F-bombs in the live press conferences while you're sitting on the couch. Please don't do that. That's fine. You cannot penalize a driver for being in the car and in that level of stress saying a naughty word. Like, and you're the one that controls whether that radio broadcast is released anyway. So it's ridiculous.
I think at that point, the person who should be fined should be Formula One media for putting that out on the live broadcast. I cannot wait to see what kind of fines that Formula E driver gets.
Oh my gosh.
From the other day. I can't think of his name right now, but they told him to come in. Basically, he was in the middle of a race. He had to come in and they had to do basically a hard reset on his car. And he was like, this is going to throw away the race. And he goes off on a rant.
I mean, we're talking 15, 16 F-bombs. Like, I don't know if he didn't realize his mic was still on, because I could see someone mic off just be like, blah, 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 but like mic on, F this shit, just going off. That dude's so suspended that his kid's not allowed to drive.
He's gonna be like having to take out a loan to pay this crap off. He's just financially broken himself. It's wild too, because I mean they just fined the World Rallycross driver, or the World Rally.
That was in a press conference, not in the car, but yes, they did fine him.
And he made a mistake, and he's like, immediately apologized, but they're like, hey, we got to fine you. So clearly, you got to find this guy, and if you're gonna count them all up. I mean, good luck. There's no way. I don't think Formula E drivers
I saw only 3 infractions that were options. This was about 37 infractions that happened in about 10 seconds. So,
oh man, that was hilarious. All right, well, man. So that was it. Car launch was awesome. Liveries kind of lackluster this year. I don't think
Ferrari.
there's many standouts.
No standouts for good. Racing Bull stands out for a good reason.
Racing Bulls does stand out, but other than that, I thought I was impressed with the event. Disappointed overall with the liveries.
That's fair.
We are heading into. It is now mid-February, so we're heading into testing in like a week. That's going to be awesome, and then
it's going to be stressful. We're going to be guessing at everything. I'm so ready for lights out in Aussie. Not even lights out. Ready for quali. That's when we're going to know.
All throughout testing, we're going to be like, oh, this car looks fast, but are they sandbagging?
Yeah.
Probably
are. Except for Alpine. They're probably giving it all. Oh my gosh, that one. You remember Miami? Miami quali DC, one of the Alpines drove by on a outlap, so it was going slow. DC was like, there's an Alpine at full speed right there. It was like, bro!
Just the laughing stock of Formula One at the time. Meanwhile, you got Steak over here just hoping they can get 5 points.
Yeah, I mean, good grief. Hopefully they don't have a 53-second pit stop this time.
Hopefully.
Baby steps.
Got to start somewhere. Oh, man. All right, guys. Well, if you like this podcast, please give us a rating and a review. Share it with a friend if you can. Follow us on Instagram, Formula_America. We should be back to posting up on YouTube, so this will be up on YouTube as well. If you want to see what we look like, Dylan's very beautiful today. Your hair's looking amazing.
Dude, I was supposed to get a haircut on Monday, and then I locked myself out of my truck with it still running in town. So that kind of put a kibosh on the haircut.
Oh, well. All right. Well, I think that might be it for this one, Dylan. We'll sign off so you can go get a haircut, unless you got anything else.
No, I did buy a Slim Jim. Not getting locked out of my truck again.
Nothing a rock can't handle.
Yeah. That's all I got.
All right. Well, on that note,
Stay classy, America.
we'll see you next time.